We're now ready to begin our special board meeting for the Port Arthur Economic Development Corporation. I may have a roll call, please, Mr. Baptiste. Here.
Miss Raymond.
Here.
Christopher Smith.
Here.
Rashad Harris.
Here.
Caprina Frank. Jerry LeBeau. Here. Rhonda Connors. Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Stand for the invocation, please.
Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for having us here. Protect us from the inclement weather that we have. Provide safe passage and guardians for those that are providing services for our safety. We ask that you be with us to govern our thoughts, our actions, our minds, and our way forward for the city of Port Arthur, and that we do the best for the citizens that we're representing. We ask all these things in your son Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a copy of our minutes from our special board meeting on August the 30th. We have a motion, please.
Make a motion that we accept the minutes as
Chris.
Make a motion that we accept the minutes as written.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve the minutes from the special board meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This time we'll have a presentation. It should be two things, right? We have our new board member with us, and we have Janet.
I would like to, Mr. Chairman and Commissioner, I'd like to introduce Ms. Beverly Raymond, our new board member. Ms. Raymond, normally we allow you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you. We need you to pull the mic down when you speak.
Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize. My name is Beverly Raymond, born and raised right here in Port Arthur, Texas. I'm a proud graduate of the Abraham Lincoln High School class of 1976. I attended Lamar University. I also work at the U.S. Postal Service as a manager. I retired from there after 35 years of service. I was married to my deceased husband, James Raymond. We have 2 beautiful children and 3 grandchildren. I work with community, with PTA and things of that sort, and I look forward to working with the board and making Port Arthur the best that it can be. Thank you.
Welcome, Ms. Raymond.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and Board, I asked if you guys, if you would allow last board meeting, I tried to give you guys a report on the press building. Jana was not here at that time. I know you guys will not meet until another month. I think there's a lot of things going on over there. I would like, if you guys doesn't mind, for Jana to give you guys a report on what's happening over there. Jana, it's okay, Mr. Chairman?
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
The good news is Lamar did start class on August 23rd, so they are utilizing their downstairs classroom. The kitchens are fully functional. The hoods are working. Let's see what else is going on. The EOC is about 99% complete. The second classroom for Lamar upstairs, all of the cable is in. So all of their internet services, all of the things that they need for their displays, all of that is taken care of. The areas, all the way to area B, has been framed on the inside. The contractor does need to procure new insulation for area A, and that product, unfortunately, is not available right now from the manufacturer. So they are looking at a substitute that won't void our warranty, and the architect has to approve it before we can move forward. However, we do have area A of our building that is exposed to the rain and things like that. So they do have some guys manning the building overnight tonight to make sure that rain does not get into the portion of the building that's already completed. The bistro's working. The elevator people will be here on the 16th so that we can wrap that up and get the state inspection. And everything else is moving forward as planned.
Do they have like a time frame, maybe like as to like the substitute? Like you say, getting a substitute, do they have like a time frame or window of opportunity to get
They
that?
can get it now, but the architect has to approve it, and he is not going to approve it unless we have something stating from the roofer and the manufacturers that our warranty will still be in place. And also, it would have to be approved by the Texas Windstorm Association because we have to have that hurricane roof. So it's going to have to go back through the approval process. So if and when the architect says, okay, they can get it, but we'll have to make sure that we do the proper things so that we don't void any warranties on that building.
Just a process that we
It's
gotta
just a
go
process.
through.
Right, but as far as the original material, we don't know if or when that will ever be available again.
Okay,
So we just have to make sure that we're doing our due diligence.
okay.
And I will tell you, we do have some concerns. I think it's going to be Wednesday that we're going to meet with the contractor, is that right? Wednesday, we're going to meet with the contractor. As Janice stated, they are proposing a different type of roofing on that portion of the building. We are very concerned because of potential liability. And you know, we need to sit down with the architect and the contractor to know exactly where we are on this stuff before we move forward. The other thing, I think today we did have the individual who does the janitorial work clean this building. Currently, Lamar is using that building. We did have a one-time clean. We are going out for bid for
Janitorial service.
for the Lamar section in the EEOC because they're coming on real soon also. So we want to put all that stuff in place right now. Lamar is cleaning the kitchen themselves.
Correct, because that's part of the student's curriculum.
Our portion of it is the restrooms and the classrooms. Is that right? Right.
Jana, because I haven't been here in a while, have you all started? Do you still have the budget going for this? I mean, are you still within budget and everything because of the roof, because of that roof
Yeah,
problem?
it's really just,
Could that spring up on us that you would have to put more money in it for the roof?
no,
Well,
no.
it's guaranteed maximum price. If it's more money, it's on the contractor because he bid it.
Okay,
You know, we entered into a guaranteed maximum price. You're going to do the job for this amount of dollars. If it costs anything above that, it is your cost. So there's no additional cost to this board.
Right, but it's like the insulation is what they're missing. So what we were using is made by Duralast and the same insulation made by another
Okay.
manufacturer. It's exactly the same. We just have to make sure
Substitute.
that we can use the other manufacturer's insulation and not void our Duralast
okay.
warranty on the rest of the building. Okay.
I think the other thing, I know Mr. Smith, Mr. Harris, Mr. Anderson, Jerry, I think you've been in the building. Mr. Raymond, you know, if you want to go visit that building, just give Jana a call and
We
she'll
did.
sit.
She walked it. She
Okay.
walked it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Mr. Harris, I know you're a busy person, but when you have time, you can call on weekends because she's 24/7.
Oh, okay.
That's
Okay.
about right.
Oh, 24/7.
That's about right.
Monday through Friday.
That's about right.
I can see is that it's a real nice facility. I like the bistro part of it, like I explained to her, and I got a chance to see students in class with the instructors teaching. So it's a beautiful facility. And at that time, I think the contractor was questioning about the elevator, I think it was. So again, it's a very good project, and as long as we stay within our budget, I'm looking forward to it being a very good thing for Port Arthur, Lamar.
Thank you, board.
Thank you, Jana. I will look at unfinished business to discuss for possible consideration the recommendation of the committee reviewing the PA EDC bylaws.
I think that was Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith, you want to?
What we have today are the items that were to be omitted already removed from this list that we discussed in our last meeting, those things that could not be changed or did not need to be changed. This looks like the same one.
What you have in your package is the Mr.
Same one.
You got Commissioner Smith. It's like this in red. Those are the recommended changes. Yeah. The only thing I'm going to say to the bylaws, Ms. Smith, is I know in here you guys talked about should be changed twice a year, but your bylaws, you know, it's kind of like you're governing the laws of the organization, and it shouldn't be changed. I don't think it would change that often. You know, the things that you do, you know, it shouldn't change that often. You know, I understand your goals and objectives may change, but your bylaws is how you are governed. And I think in the initial bylaws, if there's some things that you want to change from the initial bylaws on how you are governed or how you want to be governed, then you make those necessary changes. But having to do this every year or twice a year, I think that's going to be pretty incumbent there.
Commissioners, Chairman, when I look at bylaws, I'm looking at how we have done business, and also I'm thinking about how we need to do business. I think according to these current bylaws, I think they were written back in, 2013, 2005, so I don't know how long it has been since we reviewed them. But Floyd, I do agree with you. There's some things in here that probably should not change, but when we're trying to create more transparency, we're trying to get on some type of regular cadence and communication with the city of Port Arthur on how we're moving things, because we move a lot faster sometimes in a lot of chances than the city does. And there's a lot of visibility or lack of visibility just based on my perception only, not speaking for the other commissioners here, that if we were meeting with them a little bit more frequently, we wouldn't have to answer all the questions we do after we've taken actions. So when I look at these bylaws, I'm looking at trying to, one, increase the visibility and the transparency of what we do with the EDC along with the city, and trying to get on some regular cadence so that we don't have to keep explaining ourselves about stuff, that we are walking in concert with them as we walk forward trying to help the citizens of Port Arthur. So as I was thinking about these bylaws, I was just trying to increase frequency, visibility, reporting, and understanding, so that as we start to move forward with what we're doing with EDC, we don't have to come back and continue to justify why we make these recommendations.
So you're not, I mean, it says change, but you just want to review.
That's correct.
And if it needs changing,
And if it
you can
needs changing, make the appropriate modifications.
I mean, all that's going to take is people's time. That's it. It can't hurt nothing.
Right. So basically, that's pretty much the essence of what I was trying to recommend with Commissioner Connor.
So I guess the question, Mr. Smith, is there any recommended changes? The last bylaws was amended in 2018 that the council approved, and I think you guys have a copy of that. Is there any changes to these bylaws that this board is recommending? Because, you know, whatever changes you have to, you recommend has to be approved by the council.
So this might take a little bit longer than what we anticipated, but if we're looking at Section 801, Section 8. What's in red was what I was recommending that we amend. On the general duties of the Board of Directors, on the Article 8, Section 801. Also, if we want to look at Section 13.303, Director of Economic Development.
Can we take that one at a time?
Yeah,
So,
please, please.
which one? You said 801?
801. It was amend this section to read, the executive director may request via the Board of Directors to post an interview, for which, Floyd, you said you already do that, so that was already a part of the process anyway?
Yeah, that's part of the process.
Yeah, so that's already, we don't have to make no change there.
Yeah,
Section,
just for the other board members, Chris,
go ahead.
what happens, what Mr. Smith is saying that, when the director want a position, he have to go to the board and ask the board for the position. And once the board allow him or her to have that position, then we have to send it to the council in the budget, because the council is the only one approve a position. The council is the only people that could approve the position. So the director, he or she requested from you, goes to the council, asks the council for this new position. Prior to going to the council, we go to HR. HR will put it in the form of a job description. They will also do the wage range for that position, and then we send it to the council as part of the budget, because that new cost is part of your budget. So that process, Mr. Smith, is being done it's already being done. So we want to just, we want to eliminate that one, or
No,
you good?
yeah, we can forego that one,
Okay.
okay?
A question real quick. Which one are we eliminating? I'm kind of,
Section 801, the one right under Article 8, General Duties of the Board of Directors.
okay, eliminate all of the red?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
That one got to go.
Okay,
Yeah. And just for our minutes purpose, number one, because the state law says, you have to be a resident, we cannot accept.
absolutely, yeah.
Right, so that one is
So
removed.
we can forego that one as well.
Right.
Okay, so Section 805, 8-05. My recommendation was to change it 2 times per year instead of 1, with the annual report being provided on or before 12/31. If we wanted to do an annual report, for which I don't think we should have no change on the annual report, but normally, like we do our budget twice a year, we look at it again in October, then we look at it again in April. That might be another time for us to revisit with the city to talk about what we may want to make recommendations for the fiscal year come again October. So instead of meeting them 1 time a year, meet with them twice a year.
And what number was that, Mr. Smith?
That would be Section 8-05.
Jonah, you gonna make that change, A? Could we?
I'm working with what we're accepting.
Okay. Okay. So instead of saying detailed report to the city council twice a year.
Twice a year.
Okay, let's change once to twice. Okay, good, Ms. Smith.
Simple change from recommendation, Section 13.03, Director of Economic Development, change to Executive Director. To align to the job description that we have for the position. 13.03. Of the bylaws, it's on page 19.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So, okay. So the bylaw is already saying Director of Economic Development, it doesn't say, where does it say CEO? Does it say that?
It's in
13.3, Director of Economic Development should serve as the Chief Executive Officer of the corporation. I think that stands for CEO.
Tony, you following?
Well, I have those in front of me, but from reading this, we don't want to refer to it as a CEO.
Right.
Correct. We want to refer to
But
the position
I'm
as
looking- I'm-
executive director.
Right, but we're looking in the accepted bylaws because we have to go to council with what we want to change. And I'm not seeing Chief Executive Officer. You read somewhere, Ms. Raymond?
Yes, sir. On May 2018, the amendment of the bylaws that was created on May 2018.
Okay,
Numbered page
what
19.
What section?
Under 13.03, Director of Economic Development. The second line.
Oh, okay,
Okay,
got you.
okay.
So we're going to change that, Joni. Got you. Thank you. We're going to change that.
To executive director.
Right. Okay, got that one, Mr. Smith.
All right, moving forward, depending on, and I don't know if we made a decision, if in the budget, from a personnel standpoint, we were going to keep the deputy director role. I think it need to be added into the bylaws because it has no position in the current bylaws that says deputy director. So it doesn't spell out what his or her responsibilities are.
There's no deputy director in your budget.
Okay. So that may be something, are we actually considering not having a deputy director position? Or because it's not in the budget? Because I know they haven't approved the budget, have they?
They're going to approve the budget tomorrow.
Okay. Maybe we can table that depending on how things go for April or May, whenever we review the budget again for the half of the year.
Add a
Deputy Director, because my question is this, is one, the reason why we may be in this situation right now is that we have no person to take over Floyd's responsibility because we have no deputy. If we had a deputy that was fully capable of assuming the roles and responsibility, we wouldn't have the gap that we have right now. So as a contingency to maybe future development for our continuity for what we have in play, I would recommend as a commissioner that we get a deputy director position so we don't have to go outside our organization again to find someone to assume possibly the role responsibilities of an executive director.
As I stated last time, Mr. Smith, what you're saying is exactly what we did the first time.
Right.
But to carry a deputy director with a staff of 5, and if you have a director that may stay 5, 6, 7, 8 years, you're carrying that salary for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and you have 2 people directing 5 people. So I would think that what you would want to look at your director and see, their timeline. And then you bring somebody, just to carry somebody for a transition, because you never know when the transition is going to happen. But if you doesn't know when it's going to happen, you got to pay that salary and benefits. It's up to the board, you know what I mean? But and that's why we took it out of this year's budget, because we knew that you was going to have a new director, and the previous deputy director was here for a transition. Just did not happen the way it was planned. But if the board choose to desire to have, if the board choose to have a director, deputy director, that's the board choice. But you don't have a full 5 staff here, and you're going to have 2 people you're going to have a director managing a deputy director and a deputy director managing 2, 3 people. That's over supervision to me.
A question, how has it been handled in the past regarding, in the absence of probably sick or any long-term absence? How have it been handled in the past? Who takes over when you're not available?
Normally, 60–70% of my work I could do by phone. And I will tell you, Ms. Raymond, I was down for over a year, and I did most of the work by phone. You know, you deal with your clients by phone and email nowadays. You know, we have never had a deputy director here. I've been here 17 years. The only reason we brought in the deputy director because I was transitioning out of here. And I went to the board and asked the board for that position to transition out. Okay? When, as of today, the board have chosen to go out for a new director, they did not select the transition deputy director to replace me. So again, what I'm saying is, if the board chooses to have 2 levels of supervision, that is the board prerogative. You know, I just think it's too much supervision for the small staff that we have.
I agree. I think it'll be like too much with a deputy director underneath the director. My question would be is there a position that's already in here that we can probably label as, you know, maybe not a deputy director, but maybe like the next up position that's already in here, that's already on payroll?
As I said to the board at last board meeting, the way I have structured this organization, each one of these staff people manage themselves. They are, you know, they manage themselves, and the director managed all of it, you know. So, you know, Rachel managed the finance, and she managed the application process, because the application process is mainly the finance. Once that process is done, then it comes back to you guys, and you guys say yea or nay on an incentive, and once that is done, if you guys say yes, then that complete file move over to Crystal, and she managed the file and the client, economic. Any outside employment aid that we're dealing with, the schools and the general, you know, business out there, Renata managed those. So they all have their own area of expertise, and the manager manages it all.
I think with respect to this, some of this conversation is probably going to change whenever we get whoever we're going to get in place as our director. We should probably have some of that discussion then. I understand both sides of it, and we do need to make sure that we don't have the gap that we have now. We know things played out a little bit differently, and you just never know how things will play out, but it is our duty to prepare for those things. But I believe we're going to talk about this over and over again, so if we can just maybe get to that next one, and we'll kind of deal with this when we get our new director in place as far as the deputy director, or how he or she wants to layer those duties and operations. I mean, they might change the whole thing upside down, you know, so that's
And
my
listen,
point.
what I'm thinking, what Mr. Batiste said is you manage, your managers are you have 2 managers managing just 2 or 3, 4 people, whatever. Why would you need a CEO? Why wouldn't you just get a deputy director as a manager?
Jerry, my thoughts are this, you know, in any type of organization the CEO is really about the business of the business. The deputy is about the operations of the business, right? So as a CEO, that person is representing the organization. They're out there drawing more business. They're developing relationships. They're bringing more organizations to the organization. They're representing the organization about who we are, what we're doing, bringing more people here. A deputy is a person that's going to deal with the day-to-day so that the CEO don't have to deal with the day-to-day. That's how I look at it.
I agree. I agree with that.
See that?
Yep. And again, as I said, it's up to the board. You know, we have not seen, you know, it's all about money. It's all about money.
Question, Mr. Baptiste. Even if we don't budget into our budget for this fiscal year, does that limit us the option to have a deputy as an option for us in our bylaws if we don't have it on the budget?
I think that would be a legal question. You know, I'm not sure, because when you have it in your bylaws is how you are governed. And if you're saying you have a deputy director, then if your bylaws saying that, then you should have, because that's what your bylaws saying. You're governed by this. This is how you govern, by this. And whatever you're saying here, this is what you should be doing.
Chris.
Moving forward from this, Section 1304, other employees, it was recommended by me and Commissioner Connor, the section in red, that these employees shall perform these duties as assigned and then by the deputy director, but we don't have a deputy director, so this will be null and void. So on Section 1304, since there won't be a deputy director, we can forego that. Okay. Commissioner Connor had mentioned a few things on page 2, page 1-02, that the address of the corporation, SB 501, Port Arthur, Texas, be listed. If it's not listed, okay. Go ahead. Okay. Page 4, section 7-05. Me and Commissioner Connor will review this, and we don't think this bylaw is being currently used. It states no member of the board shall hold any paid under the city corp within 2 years. Case in point, the last person that we had, he went over to a new role, and it wasn't a 2-year gap. So either we're going to enforce it or remove it.
But it's no changes. It's something that the board have to enforce. There's no
Correct.
changes you want to make here, though, right?
Correct. There's no
Okay.
changes unless we're not going to plan on enforcing it, because if we're not going to enforce it, we don't probably need to have it there. Okay? Let me know, Joni, when you're ready.
Chris, you're moving a little fast for me, man.
Go ahead, take your time.
Okay. No members of the board of directors shall hold office or employment under the corporation or city government while a member of the board, nor shall any member of the board hold any paid employment under the corporation or city government within 2 years thereafter.
Right.
You made the statement is not being enforced. Can you give me an example?
Okay. Yeah, no. There were a couple of former members that was on the EDC board, and they're not on the EDC board now, but it wasn't a 2-year gap before they assume a new position. And I think that's all I'm gonna say of that. Correct. So my question is this: I'm not here to dispute their action or the movement. My question is, if we're not going to enforce it, we need to remove it. So my recommendation is just to remove it. Yes, sir. My recommendation would be to remove it, because we can't control it. No, we can't control it, so we just need to probably remove it. Say again, it wasn't brought up, it was just noticed. It was just in review. Jonah, are we ready to move forward, or fellow commissioners? Okay, I'm good with that. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so page 7, section 8-07.
On page 7 now.
The amendment was to change requests for adding items to the agenda from 5 days to 10 days to give people time to review. Adding,
Board members, 10 days.
yes, instead of 5.
Are you referring to when a board member wants to add something to the agenda?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Correct.
We're not talking about,
You're shortening the time because,
Well, we're actually adding 5 more days.
no, you're shortening. You're giving them 10 days. You're saying, because it says 5 days prior. If you put 10 days prior, then you're shortening the time that they could add something to the agenda. You follow me? Because it says prior to the date of the board meeting. If you give them, so if our board meeting is on the first, on the 20th, by the 10th, they have to have it. After the 10th, it's no good. But now, if it's on the 20th, by the 15th, they could still put.
I don't think that's the intent of what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to give them more time to have stuff added to the agenda as opposed to less time.
Well, this one says 5 days. Five days prior to the board meeting. Currently, we meet on Monday. We meet on Monday of every week.
Say again?
I thought that was the purpose. So
I think what he's trying to say is giving staff more preparation time to add something.
No,
versus
he's
giving
talking
them-
to he's speaking of a board member, not the staff.
Right.
You see, currently, we meet on Monday, and we say by Wednesday or Thursday of that week, because Friday, we have agenda review. Well, now we have agenda review on Thursday. We have to post Friday. We have to post Friday for our Monday's meeting. So that's the 5 days. By Thursday, we normally give you till Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay.
Then you got 5 days, you got a meeting.
then
More
Time to
time,
get something.
more time, and not less time.
10 days is less time.
We-
10 days
All
prior
right.
to is less
Well,
time.
Because our meeting, Chris, is on that Monday, you have the Monday, Sunday, Saturday, Friday, Thursday.
okay.
So our deadline is Thursday. And now we have agenda review on Thursday because we try to get the information out to the board members. If we're saying 10 days, you just got to go farther. You know, you follow me?
Gotcha. So, so let me just make this statement. Let's just forego that, let that
Yeah.
stay like it is.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I think so.
All right. John, let me know when you're ready. Okay, so page 10, a simple word change from provide to preside. I think it was a mistype.
Yeah, got that one.
Johnny, let me know when you're ready. Or Mr. Baptiste.
I'm good.
Okay, page 11, I can't speak for Commissioner Carter because she's not here right now, so I don't really understand what her context was for the recommendation. So I want to forego that one. As well as page 15, 11-05, who the designated person, I don't understand the context for that question. Say again? Yeah, because I can't speak for her. This was her recommendations. I don't understand the context.
I'll give her a call on that. We can give her a call on that.
I was overlooking the bylaws, and it's one little simple thing that needs to be changed due to update technology. And that is on page 8 in regards to special and emergency meetings. The secretary should give notice of each special meeting in person by telephone, fax, mail, or telegraph to each director. Now we're receiving it by email or text. So it might not be no big deal, but if we can take fax out and add email and text to be notified regarding meetings.
Which one, what?
That's special and emergency meetings.
What page, what's the
Page 8.
Page 8. And what is your recommendation there, Ms. Ray?
To remove fax and add email and text, because I've been notified by email and text. I have not, email and text not even included. All we can include, keep what we have, telephone, fax, mail, and telegraph, which I don't even think we use telegraph anymore, and add email and text to be notified of any special meeting or regular meeting, or reminder.
Is that Johnny?
Yes.
Good comment.
My final comment will be on page 23, section 15-09, bylaws should be amended when needed, not 10 days prior to an annual meeting. That, Mr. Baptiste and Joni and Chairman,
Yeah.
that concludes my recommendations.
Page 23,
23, what section?
15.09, amended when needed, not 10 days prior to annual meeting.
See, only thing on that, Chris, if, anytime, it's just like what we're doing right now. We have to have a public notice, just like the council. Anytime you change the rules, you got to let the people, see what it says? It says a public notice regarding such actions. So anytime you change, the little changes we're making, we have to have a public, where the public can make comments on this stuff. So when you say as needed, every time you want to make a change, you're going to have a public notice. And you got to allow the public to make comments before you send it to the council. You know, with the Texas Open Meeting Act, anytime you make changes to the laws, the public have to have comments to it. So, and I think that's why when they wrote this, they said at the annual meeting, so they could do this and then send it to the council for approval. But, you know, if the board, every time you want to change something, you just have to have a public hearing.
I understand. Well, I mean, I don't think that that's the frequency of us having a need to do this is going to be that often. But if we do as a quorum and as a group decide that there's something that really need to be addressed, maybe that's something we need to take consideration. I'm okay with leaving it at a year, if we need to, you know what I'm saying? But definitely, Mr. Chairman, if we got something we need to address, it need to be on the agenda,
Just like we're doing now.
just like we're doing now. With that, I yield my time back to the chairman.
Clarification, 1303 and 1304 were deleting those right on that last page.
You don't need to be a,
No, they don't need to be addressed. Yes, they don't need to be addressed.
Thank you, Chris.
No, thank you.
right, so we've received a recommendation from our bylaws committee and also Ms. Raymond, who wanted to make sure that she could receive her texts and emails legally.
It's Jonah, man. That's Jonah. Jonah get you.
What's the pleasure of the board here? Can I get a motion, please?
Make a motion.
All right, it's been moved by Mr. Harris and second by Ms. Raymond that we address those items that have been marked down by Ms. Joni for changes. That's in 8.05A, 13.03, 1.02, and that's all I have, with a few pending questions for our attorney. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Chris, for leading that charge.
Good job, bro. Like for real. That's for real. You had it broke down to the T.
Okay. Deep breath. Agenda item number 3, to discuss for possible consideration the recommendations of the committee reviewing the job descriptions of the Chief Executive Officer and the Deputy Director. And that was Mr. Harris.
Since the deputy director, we're dealing with that issue, so I think that we should all understand that the chief executive officer will be the one that's going to take complete control over everything until we make a final decision on a deputy director situation. So I'll say remove it for now until we find another replacement.
About the job description for the, the Chief Executive Officer. Any changes there?
No, no changes.
So let's just remove this item
Yes.
from the agenda?
Yes.
Yeah. Still need a motion. That's what Frank said last time. So give me a motion for that,
I'll make a
please.
motion. Oh, I can't make it.
I so move.
It's been moved and second that we remove agenda item number 3. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Joni. Frank? Okay, he emailed me. He emailed me, said he's been trying to call in. Yeah. We'll have to get him on the bat phone right quick. He, 201.
Is this right, 442?
508.
508?
8015.
Yeah, we have. Dale, you're gonna have to put that phone on it.
Yes, sir. This is Joni. Can you hear us?
Is on speaker?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, we're good now.
Mr. Garza.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you for I just received your message. Thank you for sending that. We're actually going to go back to unfinished business, agenda item number 1, because we needed you for that one, and that is to discuss for possible consideration approving the City of Port Arthur Economic Development Corporation employee manual.
Yes, sir. Tomorrow at the joint meeting, there is going to be an executive session. One of the items that I spoke to the city attorney about was this item, and she said that it could be brought up for discussion by both the council and the EDC board tomorrow during the executive session. The two options, as the board is familiar with, is one that it be adopted as a totally separate manual, but that would require the bylaws to be changed, because currently the bylaws require that that the EDC employees follow the City of Port Arthur's personnel policy. The second option, which is our recommendation, Mr. Batiste, my recommendation, that the proposed manual be added as a supplement to the HR policy of the City of Port Arthur, and therefore, if it is added as a supplement, it would not require a bylaw change. But Ms. Valtizio did say that we could discuss that tomorrow during the joint workshop meeting in executive session.
Mr. Garza, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that meeting tomorrow has been canceled.
Oh, okay.
So we're gonna it's okay, we just table this until we have further clarity from the city on this, Mr. Garza?
Okay. I was not aware of the cancellation. I guess it's Tropical Storm Nicholas is causing havoc in that area, and I guess that's one of the reasons I guess it may be canceled. But when I did speak to the city attorney on Friday, this is one of the items that she said we could discuss in exec. So since the meeting's been canceled, you're right, that would have to be held off, and I would wait until we get the decision from the city as to which they prefer. Again, Mr. Batiste and I recommend that it be added as a supplement to the city's personnel policy, and that way it would not require a bylaw change.
Can we make a motion to table this until, put it on hold until after council, meeting with council chairman?
That would be good. I would recommend that too.
All right, may I have a motion to table agenda item number 1 under unfinished business?
Also move.
Second.
And moved and seconded, we table agenda item number 1. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion is tabled. The item is tabled. Consent agenda items, we have 3 of those. May I have a motion to approve those 3 items, please?
Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, I'd like to hold number 4. Number 4 on the unfinished. I don't think we took action on that
We
one.
did, I'm sorry, I skipped number 4 because I got to have an L by it for the attorney. So can we take that, or we can do it now?
If you
Okay.
wish to.
To discuss for possible consideration approving the terms and conditions of an economic incentive for infrastructure for a medical facility.
Yes, sir. This one was a little different, guys, and I think Mr. Anderson and Mr. LaBeouf, you guys was on the conference call, and I made you guys aware. The city has had some changes in engineering. Normally, when we get an infrastructure, there's a breakdown of the cost of the infrastructure, and we send that breakdown of the cost of the infrastructure for the project to the city engineers, because we're not engineers. The city they approve the plan of the project. Let me go back for Ms. Raymond's sake. Infrastructure, the law allows us to do infrastructure where we could only go to the building. We can't go inside the building. We could bring water line, sewer line, gas line, electrical line, sidewalks, concrete, but we can't go into the building. This board has said for infrastructure is for 2 or more business. And this project is for 2 or more business. It's for a heart surgeon facility and a psychiatrist's office. I'm going to go back to the infrastructure now. We provided the infrastructure to the city with the cost that the developer put to us. We didn't get any return. I made a phone call to an engineer that I know, and I shared the cost with him. He said this cost is inflated. Normally, we give 40%, up to 40% of the infrastructure costs. On this particular project, because I received information from a reputable engineer, I went to 25% of this deal. So we are recommending, we recommended, how much, Joni? 157.
162.31.
Yes. The original cost for his infrastructure was $631,049.25. We recommending 25% of that, which is $157,762.63. And we're asking the board to approve this. I did forward a draft agreement to our attorney, Mr. Garza, for his review. I know he's been busy, haven't had the time. In fact, I forwarded that today to him. I'm asking you guys to approve this contingent upon him reviewing the contract.
Sir,
What's your recommendation there?
well, I'm looking at the recommendation, and if the board wishes to move forward with this, they can make a motion to approve pending the final development of the documents to be brought forward for the chair's signature and so forth. Looking at the documentation and the analysis done by Mr. Batiste, it looks like it's appropriate, but you're right. I mean, it does have some indications with regards to what is needed with regards to the water extensions and so forth, but we can write the contract in accordance with Mr. Batiste's recommendation.
Any questions about that?
Mr. Batiste, so the changes that you made with the percentage, instead of us putting 40, 25%, is there more like of just a fair market now agreement with you dropping the percentage to that?
Commissioner, we've been working with this project for going on 6 weeks, maybe close to 2 months, and we had submitted information to the city 6 weeks ago. We have not received what we was looking for. And, you know, you guys, these folks are my clients, and I got to serve my clients, and I wanted to give some justice to the clients. So I reached, as I said earlier, I reached out to a reputable engineer, local engineer. I gave him this sheet with the cost of the infrastructure, and he said the numbers are inflated. So normally this board give up to 40%. Our arbitrator said, if the number's inflated, I'm going to take 15% of that, and I'm just going to recommend 25. I don't have a true cost. I don't have a true true numbers here, so I'm just going with 25% instead of 40%.
Was it?
Do you think we will get a true cost, or that's all we're going to probably get is what we have there?
I'm going to tell you what I am being told. The board going to probably have to contract this out to an engineering firm outside of the city to do this now. Before, the city doesn't have a PE anymore, okay? So we got to go outside and pay for this instead of, I just call engineers that I know and say, look at this and give me a deal. But in the future, if you want a true estimate, a true cost, you're going to have to pay an engineer outside to do this for you.
Other question? May I have a motion, please?
This is Frank Garza. I do want to point out that the draft agreement that's been put together limits it to 150, and I know that we did state 25% is 157. So the question I have for Mr. Batiste, because the agreement you sent me earlier today limited to 150.
Yeah, I said 150, but I think
157.
Joni submitted to you because she corrected me, Frank, and I think she sent something to you with the corrected number. So that would have to be edited while you're reviewing. Did you get the corrected
So
number?
if the board, if the board is willing to move forward, my recommendation that it be approved contingent on the final agreement being reviewed and approved by the city, by the general counsel as well as the chair of the board.
Yes, sir.
And the interim, if you have an interim.
Need a motion?
Make a motion.
I second it.
It's been moved and second that we approve the incentive agreement with for infrastructure with medical facility pending our legal counsel drafting, making a correction to the draft and all the signatures. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Y'all, excuse me. Excuse me. Consent agenda items. May I have a motion to approve those items, please?
I so move.
I second it.
Been moved and second that we approved all three consent agenda items. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Non-consent agenda item number 1, to discuss for possible consideration approving an economic incentive agreement with Clifford Distilling LLC. Mr. Batiste.
Yes, sir. Again, this is an agreement that you guys had approved. The terms and conditions, y'all approve $162,500. I did draft a draft agreement and forward it to our legal counselor for review. I asked the board to approve this agreement contingent upon the legal counsel review.
Questions?
The legal counsel have reviewed.
He just received it. He will review.
Oh, he will review.
I received it earlier. And again, I would recommend that it be approved with contingent about approval. This incentive seems to be for $162,000, if I read it correctly, which again is just a portion of what they were actually seeking for the distillery.
Any other questions? May I have a motion, please?
I so move.
Moved in second, and that we move forward with the economic incentive agreement for Clifford Distilling pending our legal review. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 2, to discuss with possible consideration approving Amendment 1 to the Economic Development Conditional Grant Agreement with INC Entertainment, LLC, to extend the contract by 1 year. Mr. Batiste.
Yes, again, Chairman, board members, you guys approve extending INC Entertainment LLC for 1 year. You guys don't know that is walk-on. Mr. Garza have drafted the agreement that's in your the amendment, and we ask for you guys' approval.
Questions? Motion?
I make a motion.
Been moved in second that we accept the, well, let me just read like I said, that we approve the amendment to the Economic Development Conditional Grant Agreement with INC Entertainment and extend their contract by 1 year. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 3, to discuss for possible consideration payment of an invoice to Joey's Tractor Service in the amount of $5,005 for the August grass cut at Jade Avenue Business Park. Mr. Baptiste.
Yeah, again, last month I came before you guys. You know, we've been having a lot of rain. Joey did cut that field again at $5,005. I ask you guys approval for payment of this invoice.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the invoice for Joey's Tractor Service in the amount of $5,005. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 4, to discuss for possible consideration retracting the motion to go out for bids for mowing of the Jade Avenue Business Park. Mr. Baptiste.
I'm going to need some help from Joni to explain this. Joni, can you explain that to us?
Okay, last meeting, we
Can you
voted-
get to the mic? Mike?
I guess at the last meeting, you guys voted to go out for bids for this. We did not realize we had a current agreement. Well, not current, we passed our expiration date on it, but we've been advised that we can go ahead and renew that agreement, and we do not have to go out for bid. So we're going to retract the motion you made last meeting, and then that'll lead us on to the next line item.
Any other questions? May I have a motion, please?
So move.
Been moved and seconded that we retract the motion to go out for bids for mowing of the Jade Avenue Business Park. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Joni. Agenda item number 5, to discuss for possible consideration approving the first renewal of the agreement with Joey Tractor Service for mowing of the Jade Avenue and Spur 93 business parks. Mr. Baptiste.
Yes, sir. As Joni just said, we are currently in an agreement with, we were in an agreement with Joey Tractor Service. It had a 2 1-year extension. We're asking you guys to renew, make a first renewal on this thing. And this is at the same cost.
This for the second time?
This is the second, right.
Next year, I have to go out for bid.
He have 1 more year to renew, right, Joni?
We're doing the first renewal,
This
Yeah,
the first
so we
one.
got 1 more,
we have another renewal.
then we have to go out for bid. Right.
So move.
Second.
Been moved and second that we move forward with the first renewal of the agreement with Joey's Tractor Service for mowing of the Jade Avenue and Spur 93 business parks. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 6, to discuss for possible consideration placing an advertisement with the International Economic Development Council and the Texas Municipal League for the recruitment of an executive director of the PA EDC. Mr. Baptiste.
Yes, sir. At the last board meeting, in fact, I think it was you, Mr. Smith, you made a motion to go out and get 4 recruiters. And after thinking about it, I did contact Mr. Smith and Mr. Anderson and said, look here, guys, you know, IEDC is an international organization. They deal with economic developers. They certify economic developers. The Texas Municipal League is the municipality, any municipality that have a governmental type job, they list it in their, on their website. And I think, Mr. Smith, you allude to, and I agree with you, that it was going to cost us $56,000 to get this done. I think we could get this thing done for under $1,000 with both of these entities. Johnny, did you check the price on that? TML?
TML, for a member, I think it was $250.
Yeah, $250 for TML, and IEDC going to be running about the same thing. But we could get this thing done for less than $1,000. And I think you're putting it in the hands of people who are currently looking for employment and who are qualified folks, you know. So, you know, that's why we're bringing it back to you, because I know you guys that voted to go out for the recruiters. I think this would be a better and cheaper route to get it done, whatever the board choose to do.
Questions?
I do have a question. I was gonna ask, how long would it be? Like, we put an ad in there, would it be for 1 week, 1 month? How long would it be?
You could do whatever you want. You know, my suggestion is you could put in that 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 30 days. Yeah, they suggest 30-day ad, you know.
Okay, so the $1,000 is for
30 days.
30 days?
Yes, sir.
Got you, okay.
Yes, sir. That's both with IEDC and TML.
But is 1,000 for both of them, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's going to take care
Okay.
of it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Oh, he asked the same question I was going to ask.
Okay.
Yeah. First thing I want to say, I certainly want to appreciate Mr. Smith taking the time, and I had drafted something. I think I sent it to you, Darrell, and to you. I sent it to you too, right, Mr. Smith?
Yeah, I have a copy.
Yeah. Mr. Smith took it and he narrowed the thing down, and I think in your package, there's what I had submitted. Yeah, I had a long version, and Mr. Smith took this thing down and narrowed it down. I don't know, maybe use a different font. But either one, I feel very comfortable putting these things on both of those websites and see if we get some returns.
Any other questions?
Do I have one more? With these two advertisements that we talking about here, would it be like, would this go out like to different events, or is it like one gathering and it kind of just go out one time, or is it multiple events where it's going to go out? Or
Well, I will tell you, Mr. Harris, I'm a member of IEDC, okay? And IEDC is an international organization. They have a website. They certify people like us, you know. And folks like us who are looking for employment in economic development, not only as a CEO, but as any position in economic development, normally they go to IEDC. You know, and TML is the Texas Municipal League that lists all municipalities' job openings. So, and they list strictly for Texas. That's strictly in Texas, but IEDC is nationwide.
so it's basically going to reach anybody that's will want to apply for what we're looking for. They're going to see this
Yes,
if they
sir.
go to those sites. Got it.
And this is Frank Garza. I can add a little bit of TML. For example, when we listed anyone who has shown any interest in the economic development will get a email letting them know about the job opportunity. I get emails all the time about city attorney positions all across the state of Texas because I added that that's the area I'm interested in to be notified. So in this instance, anyone who has shown any interest in economic development will get an email for the next 30 days, almost every other day, or depending on how long you advertise it, they'll get an email letting them know that there's an opportunity in Port Arthur in the EDC. When we recently did this for a search in the city manager for one of my cities, they received over 52 applicants just from TML.
Sounds good.
Any other questions? May I have a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to recommend that we, Chris, I don't know, that you put salary in here somewhere? Yeah, you got it at the last page. Last page, yeah. Yeah.
Jeez. Speaking of that, do you think, based on where most of the executive directors are right now, and based on the size of our city, that the 110 is going to be the right benchmark to socialize for someone that's really going to add the value to the stuff that I know that you put in play? From a compensation standpoint, that's the thing that I was thinking about. What are your thoughts around that?
Let me say this, Mr. Smith. It's not many economic developers in the state of the United States of America do what we do here. Most of them don't carry a full cup of everything. You know, they normally specialize. There's not many folks, many places you're going to go to that do as much as we do here. We do a little bit of all of it. Where you find that person that could do it all, you may, but I doubt it. You know, because we do a little bit of all of it. You know, and I think those staff people who have been to IEDC training and have communicated with other communities, I think they would repeat exactly what I said to you just now. It's not many EDCs do what we do here. Yeah.
Thank you.
But before we were getting ready to go for a motion, there was some concern about the document, I guess it was, maybe?
I was going to recommend that we just take what
The short version.
the shorter version, well, the smaller fonts. Okay, Mr. Smith?
We have a motion, please,
So we're making a motion to move with the
to
advertising.
move forward with we're going to IEDC and TML to recruit our executive
I'll
director.
make a motion to move it.
All right, been moved and second that we move forward with placing advertisement with IEDC and TML for recruitment of executive director for the PAEDC. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 7, can we take number 7 in executive session?
Okay?
And also number 8 in executive session? That's fine, Frank? I mean, Mr. Garza?
Yes, sir. That'll be fine. Yes, sir, bro. That's appropriate.
Okay. And let's look at agenda item number 9, to discuss for possible consideration requesting the city council transfer property located at 601 Proctor Street to PAEDC for economic development purposes. Mr. Baptiste.
Yes, sir. Last board meeting, the board voted to move forward with seeking EDA funds. Some time ago, several months ago, we did come to you guys with a proposal to seek EDA fund for a specific project. That project would be the use of a city-owned building. And, you know, in order for us to move forward with the project, you would have to have some control over the building. So here we are asking you guys to ask the city to transfer the property at 601 Proctor Street to EDC for economic development purposes. If you get the grant, if you do not get the grant, the property would revert back to them. But we need the property in EDC name. So we're asking the city we would be asking the city to transfer the property to EDC for economic development purposes. If you do not get the EDA grant to retrofit the building, then the property would be reverted back to the city of Port Arthur.
Questions?
I'm not familiar. What building is that? Where's
Right
601?
next door. Right across the...
Jana, that's part of Jana project. Is the building directly across the street from the park?
Oh, okay, gotcha, okay.
You know,
Yeah.
Right, right.
With
The Mardi Gras was up.
Deli on top.
Yeah.
Okay, got
That's
it.
it.
Okay,
Okay.
understood. Thank you.
yeah. Again, you know, the request is for you guys to ask the city to deed the property to you guys, contingent upon you receiving an EDA grant. If you do not receive the grant, you revert the property back to them.
Other questions? May I have a motion, please?
I so move.
Second.
We moved in second that we move forward requesting the city council transfer property at 601 Proctor Street to EDC for economic development purposes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 10, to discuss for possible consideration engaging Powell Brown, architect of Houston, Texas, to provide architectural rendering and cost estimate for proposed project at 601 Proctor Street. Mr. Baptiste.
Yeah, again, what we're asking you guys here is to engage an architectural firm to look at the building, look at the structure, look at what we're trying to get done, and design it and put some cost estimate to it. Just a sketch right now for the grant purpose. 'Cause, you know, you have to show what you're trying to do and what it's going to cost you. So this may cost you guys a little bit of money, but EDA will not reimburse you for what you pay for this deal. But we need somebody to sketch what we want out and give us the estimated costs. We think that Powell Brown have done the work at 549 4th Street. They could do this for us again.
Questions?
So we know, like a ballpark figure of how much this company would charge to do a sketch?
I would say between $10,000 to $20,000 to sketch, because they're gonna have to do some structural.
Right.
They're gonna have to do some structure, they're gonna have to do some design, they're gonna have to do some cost estimates. Because when you make your application, you got to have all that number, all the numbers in there. So it's professional folks, engineers and structural people that's gonna have to come in here and look at this building for us.
That's the only way that we would be able to even consider getting a grant is have to go
got to
through
have the
this to
numbers, yes,
even get it. Okay.
Got to have the numbers.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? May I have a motion, please?
So move.
A second.
It's been moved that we move forward with engaging with Powell Brown, architect of Houston, Texas, to provide architectural rendering and cost estimate for proposed project at 600 Proctor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 11, to discuss holding a joint meeting with 501 Proctor Street in regards to EDA grant application. Mr. Baptiste.
Yes, sir. 501 Proctor. I think we, the attorney, Mr. Garza, I think Johnny forwarded to you all the information that we had on 501 Proctor. Is that right?
Mr. Garza?
I didn't hear the question.
We did forward to you the information that we have on the creation of 501 Proctor, right?
Yes, sir. About the creation of it? Yes, sir.
Okay. 501 Proctor for Ms. Raymond and also Mr. Harris. 501 Proctor, I'm going to go back in time. About 8 years ago, we decided to, well, 10 years ago, we decided to build this building. And in order to build this building, we went out for what we call new market tax credit. Everybody hear the story about the rich folks don't pay no taxes? Well, that's how they get away with it. They put their money in projects such as this, and they get tax credit, you know. So Chase gave us $1.9 million in new market tax credit to build this building, but Chase could not give the money directly to us. So we had to create a quasi-organization, and that quasi-organization, we called it 501 Proctor. That organization, the board created the organization. It was 3 members of this board. At that time, it was Caprina Frank, Eli Roberts, and Pat Holmes. And also, we had 2 additional people, Mrs. Deborah Scott and Commissioner Senegal. They made up that board. They were chartered by the state of Texas. They have bylaws. And after they were created, the money went to them. They actually owned this building for 7 years. And EDC, we became a master tenant of this building and paid rent to them for 7 years until that new market tax credit period was over. That new market tax credit period is over. We own the building now. We also applied for THC, Texas Historical Credit, and we got $1.2 million for this building. So, in fact, Apple bought the big guys they don't pay tax, guys, they buy credits, you know. So they gave us $1.2 million, and that money went into, because 501 owned the building, it went into their account, you know. But the way 501, when you look at the bylaws, remember EDC created that organization. That bylaw says their purpose was to assist EDC in redeveloping this town, this part of town, okay? So the money just keeps rolling around, but it comes, the only thing they could do is help EDC. And the reason why we're looking at 501 here is to sustain 501 for a long period of time, because 501 money is not restricted. Our money is restricted. City money is restricted. 501 is a nonprofit, and the only way they could spend this money is for redevelopment of downtown with EDC. So, from my perspective, it is this board advantage if you maintain that organization for a long time, because they could help you do a lot of things. So our intent is to make them part of this application, and all the profit that will be realized from that building will go into 501 account. And for a long time, they will be sustained, because they have no other way to make money other than the redevelopment. So our goal is to the lease payment, the rent money that comes from, if we get the grant from that particular project, go directly into 501 account, and it gives you future unencumbered money to use for other things. That's, I hope I try to keep it as simple as possible, but I may have confused y'all.
I get it.
That help out there? Now,
I get it. So you basically,
sir?
no, I get it. I'm saying I see you created the 501 Proctor to
Which
get
is a
another
nonprofit.
grant. Yeah, just to get a grant of funds that you can have access to that's
Right.
not restricted.
And the lease payment that you're gonna get, Jana, you wanna come give them a synopsis of what that proposal is gonna be?
So about 20 small retail businesses, and then we talked about having the restaurant on the 3rd floor. You know, nothing full scale because we won't have a grease trap up there, but something like we've talked to Chick-fil-A Express. maybe a deli or a sandwich shop, something like that. So basically, the revenues from that project going into 501 would be unrestricted funds. So you're not restricted to only utilizing those funds according to what the state law says that you have to use your sales tax for. So a lot of those 4B type projects and other things that the board may wish to do in the future, you would have unrestricted funds to be able to do those sorts of projects.
And what we propose, and it's going to be a 3-story building, like Janice said. The first 2 floors going to have 10 shops. I think we were talking about
800, 900 square feet per shop.
Right.
Something like this set up.
And the intent is, we have our entrepreneurship program over here. I know Mr. Smith, you very, Mr. Anderson. And those folks, it's difficult for them to go into a business setting because it costs too much to rent, but they could afford to rent 800 square foot.
Right.
And if we had 10 shops in there, or 20 shops, I would go.
20.
It's 20, the guy who's selling candles, the guy who's selling neckties, the guy who's selling shirts. I hope you would
Wreaths,
come in
those
there
sorts
too.
of things.
Roxy.
Crafts.
Craft. So, you know, they would all, people would congregate to help these folks grow their business. And, you know, hopefully one day they may move out, but if they want to stay, it's a long-term place. But they would have an office just like this. They would lock it and open it up just like this.
And if you all want to look at something online, George and I have both visited Krog Street Market in Atlanta. It's a historic neighborhood market. It's right in the middle of a neighborhood outside of downtown Atlanta. It has some of those small type of shops, craft ice cream, craft beer, you know, little things that small businesses are, you know, making. And then there's another one, Ponce City Market, but Ponce is on a whole nother level. Ponce is, you know, a $300 million project with lofts on the, you know, 5th floor. But Krog Street Market is more the aesthetic we're looking at, something like a neighborhood, you know, market where people would be able to sell their wares downtown Port Arthur.
This project is for the 601 Proctor? Okay, okay. I want to sure I understood. Okay.
This is the goal, what you're talking about, is to
Right.
just get multiple spaces to.
Right, like for example, I have several people that have already inquired about leasing long-term at the press building to sell sunglasses or to sell purses or to sell, you know, ice cream, but that's not really what that space is for.
Right.
That's more of an office space and then a
You
business
need to go where
incubator.
you're talking about.
Right, well, we
Gotcha.
help you, you know, grow and scale your business, but then we want to be able to provide you an opportunity to rent a low-cost space, you know, within the city, because right now, like, for example, I got a call from someone today that's trying to just start their business. And on West Port Arthur Road, next to Fuel Depot, they want $1,800 a month. She can't afford it.
So all the spaces that you're talking about are only going to be for like candle places. It won't be like no ice cream. You can't have like an ice cream shop or something in there
if
where they
if
have
want to.
plug-ins.
There will be an open, in the middle of the 10 shops.
I got you. I got you. So whatever the shops is.
Kiosk places.
Yeah, I got you. In the middle spaces,
It's like
you
a
will
food
have.
court.
I got you.
Yeah,
Food
so
court.
Krog Street Market would be
Gotcha.
the best one
Gotcha.
to look at because it's real open in the middle.
Yeah,
Food court in the middle, ice cream shops, things like that, and then people sell their wares.
Yeah,
on the
no, I think
perimeter.
that's not a bad idea. I think no, it's not a bad idea at all.
We have so many people that operating out of homes and things of that sort, and we can, and,
That's
yeah.
the folks we find. Home-based business, bring them out to expand it and grow it. And we feel that if we could bring them out the house, you know, anytime you're making money, you're going to hire somebody. You got to hire somebody. because other people make your money. Is that right, Mr. Harris?
That's absolutely correct.
That's the way it works.
That's how
That's
it
the way
go.
it works, man. You know.
All right, any other questions?
None at all.
That already means.
May I have a motion, please?
I so move.
I second.
Been moved and second that we move forward with holding a joint meeting with 501 Proctor in regards to EDA grant application. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, we're going to adjourn for executive session. A closed meeting or executive session may be held pursuant to the following sections of the Chapter 551 Texas Government Code, Section 072, Section 074, and Section 087. We'll move to executive session. Mr. Garza? Mr. Garza?
Yes, sir.
All right, just making sure you're still here. Okay, we're ready to reconvene our regular board meeting. Mr. Baptiste, can I have a roll call, please?
Harold Anderson.
Here.
Beverly Raymond. Here. Christopher Smith.
Here.
Rashad Harris.
Here.
Katrina Frank. Jerry LaBelle. Here. Rhonda Connor. You have a quorum.
Thank you so much. Let's look at agenda item number 7 to discuss for possible consideration approving a consultant agreement with Floyd Baptiste. Mr. Garza, could you give us that verbiage, please, in open session?
Yes, sir. What we're looking for is to enter into consultant agreement with Mr. Baptiste starting October 1st to provide services to the EDC contingent on chairman and board approval.
Any questions?
Did he do the 6-month thing?
That's all.
That's all it took. Okay, yeah. Well, no questions from me.
Have a motion, please.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. We move forward with the agreement with Mr. Baptiste contingent upon the verbiage from the attorney and the approval of both parties. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Agenda item number 8, to discuss for possible consideration naming a staff member to work with Mr. Baptiste to oversee the office operational procedures. Mr. Garza, please give us that verbiage as well.
Yes, sir. You're looking to appoint Crystal Vieira Muller as the interim EDC operations manager starting October 1st until a new EDC director is appointed.
Thank you so very much. Any questions? Your motion.
Move.
It's been moved and second that we appoint Crystal as the interim operations manager and beginning October 1st until we hire our executive director. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you so very much. I will entertain that very last motion that I need for the night.
Make a motion that we adjourn the meeting.
I second.
All right. We'll see you all on whenever. We'll be back.
Whenever.
Look, we'll be back soon.